Before we get into any challenging word problems, we need to look at some of the phrases, some of the vocabulary that you're going to be encountering in the word problems, and how that vocabulary can translate into a mathematical expression or into a mathematical equation. I'm going to start off with a basic expression and see how many different ways we can think of to write this expression. And for now, in the very beginning, we're going to concentrate on how we refer to the operation. The first expression we see here, the operation, is the addition operation. So for this expression, you could say a number added to 5 or 5 added to a number. We could say more than, as in 5 more than a number. We could say also that the number was increased by 5, and we could also say that this is the sum of a number and 5. Of course, there are more expressions and phrases that could be used, but these are the basics. Now for our next operation, we could simply say subtract. In other words, a number subtract 5. We could say 5 less than a number. We could say that this is a number decreased by 5. And we could also use the word difference. Okay, so we could say the difference between a number and 5. With our next operation, it is most commonly called multiplication. Like 5 multiplied by a number. We could say times, like 5 times a number. And there are a few phrases like twice, or double, or triple. That would not necessarily be used with this expression, but would be used when you're multiplying by 2 or by 3, etc. We can also use the word of. Now, of is a special case. Of is used when the multiplication is involving a fraction or a decimal sometimes, or more commonly a percentage. The most common phrase is product. Now, in our other example, for our last operation, we could say divide by, as in a number divide by 5. We could use phrases like half, 1/3, which mean multiply by the fraction 1/2, multiply by the fraction 1/3, or we could use the word quotient. Because for each one of these operations, there is a word that is the textbook favorite. In other words, if you take enough math courses, there'll be a word that is used more than any, sometimes exclusively. For this first operation, commonly called addition, the word sum is the textbook word, the most commonly used, the textbook favorite. For the operation commonly called subtraction, difference is it. Over here it's product, and in the last case it is quotient. So these are the textbook words. Again, take enough math classes and those will be the only ones you ever see. Now, a couple other things. Our variable. You heard me as I was looking at these examples say, when I saw the variable, I didn't say x plus 5 or x minus 5. I would say a number plus 5, a number minus 5. That means that the X is being used to represent the unknown. You could say a number or some value or a value, but anything that implies an unknown value, that's where your variable goes in. Now, we were working with expressions in this particular example, but when you start working with equations, you'll find the equal to being represented very often by the word is, or sometimes gives, or yields, or something like that. So this is the basic vocabulary that goes along with mathematical expressions, and this should help you translate an application into a mathematical phrase.